Hello, hello, and welcome back to the JJ and Co. Hi, my name is Julie, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk about some morning habits as well as some really good habits to have just in general. They don't have to necessarily be in the morning, but I do appreciate my good morning habits. And so, a little bit about me before we dive into the program. I was in university, I was working. Uh, Three part-time jobs, which sounds absolutely ridiculous the more times I say it, but it's true. I was working three part-time jobs and I was looking for something different. So I started getting my hands on personal development books, podcasts, business books, just anything that I could to get my hands on so that I could improve myself, but also find a way to make more money and not work so many part-time jobs to put myself through school. And so a month later, I was introduced to a network marketing company to start a business. And so I jumped right in once I heard about the business and the products and just the community that was evolved around it. And honestly, what I fell in love about the company the most was probably the community and the products. I really didn't love their sales tactics. So it really wasn't for me the sales model, just it didn't align with who I am as a person. And so I really enjoyed my experience though with the company. I loved the in-person like coaching sessions that we had in teams, but also like on a national level. I traveled to Vegas and Edmonton, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto to learn about mindset shifts and business strategy. And so I've been doing that for several years. And going into my now 9 to 5 job, I still teach and train people how to do exactly what I'm doing. And I do a really good job at it. So I decided to launch a business and gear it to business strategy, but also mindset, because I'm really passionate about mindset and developing a good mindset to really be able to see the challenges and overcome them easily, or I should say more easily than if you didn't have good mindset and good practices at all. So, enough about me. Let's dive into, our morning habits. So, what exactly is it you do in the morning? Are you a type of person that wakes up in the morning and you're constantly hitting the snooze button because you don't want to get out of bed? You're like, nope, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to show up in my business today. I just want to stay in bed in my nice, cozy, warm bed with the blankets snuggled up, right to your chin and not move. Well, not too long ago, I was the same way, before I started my mindset journey. I guess it was couple years back now, I was always hitting the snooze. I didn't want to get out of bed. I had low energy. I just wasn't feeling great. And so developing good mindset tactics really helped me achieve, more energy, better positive attitude, and just altogether a great feeling that I hold. And so we're going to go over a couple of tactics and tools that you can use to improve your morning habits. And so, really, the goal is to improve your mindset. And a great way to do this is to implement morning habits and strategies. Now, it's very important to note that this change does not happen overnight, and have you can't implement this strategy once and think that you'll have an amazing mindset and will never have to practice again. That's unfortunately not how mindset works. You do have to practice and kind of continue learning and utilizing these practices on a daily basis in order to continue to improve your mindset, continue to grow, and continue to manifest opportunities that are in front of you. And so, a great quote by Bob Proctor is nothing great in this world has ever been accomplished without passion. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. And so when you're really excited about what you do, it really doesn't feel like you're putting a whole lot of work into it. And the same goes with your mindset. When you really appreciate the kind of mindset tools and practices that you utilize, it really doesn't feel like a job anymore. And so committing to your new daily practices is so important because when you do and you see the results, it will be so incredibly worth it. And the transformation itself is so incredibly empowering. So, The one thing I recommend you do is waking up at least 1 to 2 hours prior to when you actually have to get your day started. And when I mean day started, I mean that's your work day, that's answering emails, that's answering phone calls, that's, bringing your kids to daycare if they go to daycare. Um, it really is a time for you to set yourself up for success for the day. There are so many studies out there that show that if you wake up and you are scattered and you constantly hit the snooze button, you're running late, your mind is also running late and it's not actually performing as well as it could be if you took that time to, have a morning coffee, drink some water. If you're not a coffee person, you could drink tea. Drink some water, do some meditation, some journaling, visualization, going out for a walk in the morning, taking a shower and like enjoying the like heat of the water or, just reading, setting time aside for you without distractions, from social media, without watching the news or reading the newspaper, just putting some time aside for you is so incredibly important and sets you up for success. Now, you might be saying, well, I can't get up earlier. I have kids. I get no sleep at all as it is, or I don't have extra time in my day, or I wake up tired when I wake up. So why would I reduce the sleep that I'm intaking? Well, these may be your current realities, but they're really objections disguised as fear. So if you don't make the habit of falling asleep on the couch when you're tired and you don't lay in your bed at night watching reels till 2 a.m., you don't go to bed late, you don't hit the snooze button, you can start increasing and letting your mind know that, okay, it's bedtime now because I'm literally doing nothing else but being in my bed and falling asleep. Um, I know that what I did really helped is I would realize I was getting too much sleep, which sounds crazy, but I was not sleeping, I was sleeping too much. And so when I spoke to my healthcare professional, they gave me tips on how to, really evaluate what your sleep pattern is. And some people need 8 hours, some people need seven, some people need six. And so it really depends on how much sleep you actually need. So I recommend talking to your healthcare professional before, really reducing your sleep hours. But there are times in the day where you can cut out to make sure that you're getting all your other activities in so that you can really make sure you're waking up earlier to set the tone for the rest of your day. So, in order to, wake up that extra half hour, hour, 2 hours that you need to really show up for yourself, you may need to go to bed earlier, or you may need to set an alarm on your phone to remind you and say, yeah, you need to go to bed now. Like it's not an option to watch another episode of Schitt's Creek or another episode of Grey's Anatomy or whatever other your other favorite shows are. It's time for bed. So those are some of the tactics that I used to kind of get me back into a sleep pattern, back into kind of like a routine of when I wake up and when I go to bed so that I can wake up an hour or two before my day actually starts. If you wake up late, your mind is not prepared for the day. Your mind will be stressed, reactive, and disorganized. When you keep practicing waking up earlier each and every day, you'll be able to set time aside for you to eat a proper breakfast, journal, meditate, plan, goal set. I used to hate waking up earlier, and now I can't imagine my life not doing that. I love waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I often actually wake up prior to my alarm clock because I'm so ready to get the day started. And Jim Rohn actually said motivation is what's get you started, habits is what keeps you going. So creating these good habits will help, you know, keep you energized and excited for what's to come. So, couple ideas you can do to implement in your next, the extra time that you've received in the hour or two that you're waking up earlier, you could actually eat breakfast. Like, I know I'm really bad at this. I used to hate eating breakfast, so I would just have a coffee, and now you have the time to eat breakfast. I like to do some workouts, and sometimes I attend a yoga practice, which is really great for, movement, mindfulness, strength, and that kind of thing. You could shower and get dressed without thinking, oh, I only have 5 minutes to shower, 5 minutes to get dressed, and then I got to zip out the door. You can make a to-do list, go over your goals and say, okay, this is my 12-week goals. This is my weekly goals. This is my daily goals. What am I going to do to achieve my weekly goals? What am I going to do in my weekly goals to achieve my 12-week goals? So you can really, set a list out for the day. You can also meditate. I love meditation. It helps with clarity. It helps, work through problems. That, alongside with journaling and visualization, are probably some of my favorite morning habits to try in my me time that I get in the morning, just because it really helps, again, with clarity, understanding your vision, really envisioning what your life will be like or what your life is like when you're hitting your goals. You could also go outside for a walk in the morning, get that fresh, crisp air. You could sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee, a tea, a water, a juice. You can practice your affirmations, say them out loud, look in a mirror and repeat them. But, you know, now that you've gained all this extra time, it's so important to avoid certain aspects like watching TV, scrolling on social media, jumping into your workday, answering emails, answering calls, just laying in bed. We might think, oh, I got extra time. I can just like lay here and like think about everything I got to do today. But no, you really have to get out of bed. The act of getting out of bed, making your bed, and just starting the day right. Reading magazines, you want to avoid that. You want to avoid catching up on your gossip, what celebrities doing what. So if you're committed in growing your business, you need to commit in growing yourself too. Jack Canfield once said, committed to constant and never ending improvement. And to do that, you need your you time to get yourself prepped for the day. All right. So now that you have some extra time, let's focus on what kind of habits that you're going to utilize, that you're going to strengthen so that you can really use that extra time with purpose. So, one of the things that I do is meditation. And how I got involved in meditation is I started out actually going to a yoga class. I had never been to a yoga class, and my friend said, hey, you want to come to this yoga class with me? I'd really love it if you join the class with me. It's gonna be super fun, easygoing, no muss, no fuss. And I said, yeah, I'll go, but I'm not interested in doing a handstand. Because in my mind, if you did yoga, you automatically had to do a handstand in each practice and be this like hyper flexible machine that could, stretch and do the splits and stuff. And I was not interested in that. I cannot do that. And so I said, I don't want to do that. I'll go, but if that's what it is, I don't want to participate, because I was closed off at that point. And she laughed and said, oh, yeah, don't worry. It's going to be super easy. They won't make us do handstands. Well, lo and behold, that yoga class did, in fact, have handstands in it. And I looked over to her the minute the instructor said, okay, we're going to do handstands now. And I feel like if eyes could kill, my eyes would have killed her. And so the only reason why I felt that way when the instructor said, all right, we're going to start practicing our handstands is because I had fear. I was uncomfortable. I didn't understand the practice. I was closed off to the idea that doing yoga is, in fact, a mindful activity that a yogi is someone who is flexible, not in the sense that you can bend down and touch your toes, but that you're flexible in your ears, that you have a willingness to change, that you are eager to learn, you are eager to change. And I was so closed off to that idea because I always pictured doing yoga is something that you needed to be flexible or, like hyper flexible. And that didn't fit my persona. And all these assumptions that I made about yoga was completely false. And so as we progressed in the class, the instructor made us all lay down on our yoga mats, close our eyes, and start meditating. And they guided us through this beautiful meditation, asking us to start, with our eyes closed. focusing on our breath, realizing how the breath comes in and out. Is it easily or effortlessly? How it feels in our body, this breath exchange. And if there were any tensions in our body, to focus our breath onto that area. And honestly, the whole meditation experience just brought me to this whole different level. After the class, I got a taste of yoga, but I also got a taste of meditation and how calming that meditation practice made me feel. I felt almost freed and to lay there in silence and be alone in my thoughts, focusing on my breath. Um, and this was really my stepping stone into meditation. I began with smaller practices, on my own or in yoga classes because I attended some afterwards. And I could feel the change in me from doing this mindful practice of reflecting and being by yourself in silence and just really reflecting on things that have happened in the week or problems I'm working through or just feeling like I needed to be guided. And so I started with a couple of minutes and then I increased the time to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I can meditate for 20 minutes or longer. And it makes me feel so good to be able to meditate and to just feel the energy flowing through me as I work through problems is probably one of the best feelings ever. So if you're not meditating, I highly recommend you get this into your morning habits and practices. You know, it helps you to spring ideas forward. It helps you to clear your mind to set the day right. And it really helps you to connect to your mind, body, and spirit. And even if you're not a spiritual person, connecting to yourself through your mind and your breath work can really help you get peace of mind, can help you sprout new ideas, and even may bring you this relaxation. And John Maxwell said, for everything you gain, you must give up something. And what you're gaining here is a beautiful mindful practice. And what you're giving up is some negative thoughts, some negative feelings, because it's going to keep raising you up and raising your vibration and your energy to bring you this positive, calming effect. And I absolutely love that. So, some of the objections is to meditation I often hear is I can't meditate, I can't sit still for more than a few minutes, I'm not a spiritual person, I don't know how to meditate, I don't know what the length is, I don't know what the protocol is around it. Well, you wouldn't be the first one to think these thoughts. There are dozens of ways to meditate, and guess what? None of them are wrong and none of them are right. You can just do as you please. And that's the best part. You don't have to be a monk to meditate or even a yogi. You can just be you and meditate how you see fit. You don't have to do it in a spiritual way. You can simply focus on staying calm, focusing on your vision, your goals, or even just decompressing from the week. So, when I started, I used an app called Insight Timer, and there's various lengths of meditations as well as different types of meditations. There's some that have like nature sounds, and that's all you hear in the background. There are some that are actually guided for you, so it's a really great place to start if you're looking for. A starting point to meditate. You can also use Calm or even SoundCloud. I know there might be other apps out there to help you with your meditative practice. And then in terms of the methods, again, there is no set in stone way that you have to meditate. You can simply sit, stand, or lay down in silence. You can find a quiet place and be seated and just be with your thoughts, or you can let your mind focus on your breath work and engage with the connection. You can also go for a walk, a hike, a bike ride, a swim, a yoga class, just to be in that present space and time and allow yourself to breathe in those moments and just let your mind wander. Try not to engage in social media, your cell phone, or anything else that would distract you from being in that present moment. You can also say affirmations in your mind with your eyes closed and think about the statements. So, for an example, an affirmation can be money flows to me with ease. Why am I so good in manifesting? I show up every day for my life and I love my journey. You could just keep repeating these statements in your head when you have your eyes closed and just like let visions and images flow through your mind as you say these images, which is super exciting. You can also think of purposeful questions to meditate and brainstorm on. Some questions that you can ask yourself is, what do I need to learn today? What actions do I need to take to move myself forward? You know, thinking in a positive way allows your mind to figure out the how on the subconscious level. So you don't need to figure out the how. You just need to show up and do the do and the actions, and everything else will fall in place. And anything that comes to mind during your meditation, it's really important to remember to just witness the thoughts coming through and to do so without judgment because it's so easy to get caught up in the judgment game where you're judging your thoughts, you're judging your negative patterns, which is not helpful. We all go through it. We all have these negative thought patterns that creep up every once in a while. The one thing you can do is reflect and see and witness these negative statements, negative thoughts, and change them into positive statements and positive thoughts. All right. So, the next thing I recommend doing and I love doing is journaling. I love this habit because it allows you to create ideas, affirm concepts, and it really just helps, you know, bring more happiness and manifestation and abundance in your life. You know, you can ask yourself how important is success and happiness to you. You can be guaranteed that if you want to grow yourself, grow your business, you need to grow your mind, and you can do so with journaling. It's important to set your intentions to be consistent and to leave perfection at the door. You will not be able to, journal if you come through this in a mindset that you need to be perfect and that you can't make mistakes. And there is no secret to this practice. You just need to take action every day on a consistent basis. And did I mention you need to be consistent? So, writing down statements and journals and just working through that problem can really help with breakthroughs. And so I love this. I will generally meditate and then do my journaling after because there's so many ideas that flow in my meditation that I want to get it down on paper. And if ever you have a day where your meditation, you just feel like not a whole lot's coming up, but you're enjoying being in that peaceful, mindful space, you can start creating journal prompts and say, well, what do I need to learn today? What do I need to release today to grow in my business and in my mind? What activities can I push myself to do today to, create more momentum in my business? And so, one thing you can journal there's a couple things you can journal on. Um, some of them are like journal prompts where you're really thinking about ideas and concepts to help you grow. Like, what do I need to release today? Well, maybe it's, you know, fear and limiting beliefs in yourself, thinking that you're not enough, thinking that, you're failing all the time, or that, you're failing in aspects and you just keep those failures in your head and keep repeating them over and over again like a horrible horror movie that you're watching. And so writing it out and really working through that fear and that concept of failure can really help you kind of move past it, which is super exciting. So a couple things you can journal on. So one is the ideas and concepts. Another one is gratitude. I absolutely love my gratitude journal. I write about 5 gratitudes every day, things that I'm super grateful for in my current life. And it's so important to be grateful for the things that you have now, because if you're not grateful for the things that you have now, there's no way that you're going to be grateful for the things that are to come because you don't appreciate what you have in this current moment, in this time. In order to manifest and be more abundant, you need to acknowledge and be grateful for what you have in your life here now. So I recommend writing at least 5. If you have more, write more each and every day. You can write them in the morning or at nighttime. I love doing it in the morning because it just sets my energy for the day. I just get so pumped and excited when I write them out. Another one is affirmations. You can write out affirmations. Um, Make sure that you write them in the present tense, keep them short and sweet and to the point, and make write out affirmations that make sense to you, that really help you, that raise your energy, your vibration up, and so that you feel better about your current circumstances, about where you are right now and where you want to go. Another one is setting clear intentions. So, intentions that are aligned with your goals and your vision to help you clear it out of your mind and onto paper. So I love reviewing my goals on a daily basis. I write out my 12-week goals, I write out my weekly goal, and I also write out my daily goal to make sure that I am doing steps that propel my business forward each and every day. And another quote is by an unknown author is life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead. And so in order to grow, we kind of have to do and move in some growing pains where we go through our habits and break them down and start changing things that are no longer serving us and increasing things that are serving us and implementing daily habits like meditation, journaling. Um, those are all great things that can help you improve your habits, improve your mindset, and in turn, grow your business. All right. Another one is to challenge yourself by reading. And, you know, I wasn't much of a reader back then. I remember being in like middle school and high school, and they made us read, the classics. And some of them I really did not enjoy, and others I really did. And so I just went through life after high school, when I was in college before university, that I decided that reading was not for me and I wouldn't engage in it. And so it was back in when I was in university when I was looking for a change that I said, you know what, I got to throw this whole reading concept that is not for me out the window and start getting my hands on personal development books, business books, podcasts, things like that, so that I can improve myself and grow. And so that's what I recommend you do. Pick up a book and read. And, if you're thinking, I don't really have time for this, I'm too busy, I have a full time job, I have kids, they have activities every day, I guarantee you can find 5 to 10 minutes a day in your life to read. And because you're creating that you time in the morning, you can find time to read books that are helping you grow, um, books that lift you up, books that have an amazing energy and vibration, books that help you, give you business strategies, grow your mindset. Those are so incredibly useful, you know, and the idea of I don't have time, I'm a really busy person is, in fact, a mindset block. It's a block that you've created to justify not achieving your goals. It's a block that you keep telling yourself that this story, this reality that you've created for yourself is actually preventing you from achieving your goals and dreams. And so by breaking down this block and taking actionable steps, you are moving closer and closer to your goals, which is super exciting. And if you're telling yourself, well, I can't afford new books, I'm on a tight budget, and you know what? That might be true. When I was in university and in college, I had very little money left at the end of the month. Most of it went to tuition, books, housing, groceries if I could afford it that week. So I definitely didn't have money to buy extra books because my textbooks were already very expensive. And so what I did is I went to used bookstores and I found books for like $1 or $2. And I made sure that, Kate, well, I'm not buying a coffee at all this week. So I have an extra $20 that I could spend on a book because $2 a coffee, 5 days a week. Um, Sorry, not $2, but sorry, I spent like $2 a coffee. And so I had extra cash um, that I could use to buy this book. Math is not my forte tonight. And so you can start implementing those practices, finding ways where you can cut down on your expenses to be able to afford $1 book or a $2 book or, a couple books for $5. There are used bookstores everywhere and they need our business, and in turn we get support and guidance through amazing authors, amazing books that are published years ago that their their knowledge and information is still relevant to this day. And so you can make up like 1,000 excuses why you don't have time to read and why you can't afford it. But really, you can only come up with one reason of why you need to read is I value my personal development growth that will serve me to growing myself and growing my business. And that's that. Like I value growth because I want to grow bigger. And to grow bigger, you have to grow yourself and grow your skills. And, you know, like John Maxwell said, growth must be intentional. Nobody improves by accident. So you have to be intentional in your practices, and changing your morning habits can really help you grow yourself and grow your business. So, a couple books, because I'm going to give you some options in books that you can read. There are many books and podcasts and resources that can help deliver so many messages to you. And I truly believe that even the great video resources, podcasts, audio books, they're so useful as tools. But I do believe that reading a physical book allows the message to sink in. Reading uses more brain power, more focus that simply listening to an audiobook or a podcast can't do. So begin reading every day to help improve yourself and your mind and your way of thinking, and then implement those skills that you learned in the books into practices. Now, some of my favorite books, one of them is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Another one is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which are classics. You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. um, and again, there's nothing wrong with podcasts or audiobooks. In fact, I listen to podcasts on a daily basis, especially when I'm doing like data entry or things that don't require a lot of, focus. I will throw on a podcast. One of them is Earn Your Happy by Lori Hardy, On Purpose with Jay Shetty. And then there's TED Talks as well that I just love listening to. And so those are some examples of some of the books. There are a million of them out there. And so if you don't like my suggestions, totally fine. Go ahead and go do your own search for things that make you feel really good when you're reading these books, and like lift up your vibration, lift up your energy through reading, which is super exciting. So the last thing is good vibration. you know, you've made the conscious decision to change your daily habits, waking up earlier, doing some meditation, doing journaling, reading. Now you have to take charge of decide what you think, how you feel, and how you live. You have the ability to attract those that you want in your life. You control how you want your mind to think by choosing the thoughts that you think. So, you need to make the conscious decision to attract the good that you desire. So, try your very best to suppress the negative thoughts and the negative, judgments that come into your mind. You know, your mind is your greatest creation. It's your house of knowledge, house of ideas, of feelings. Your present mind works with your subconscious mind to create and attract the things that you desire. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, that's what you attract is the negative aspects in your life. So what I like to do is I like to go over the little miracles that I experienced during my week. And I evaluate my little wins that I get or my big wins that I get each and every day and during the week. And you can do this more on a weekly basis to kind of assess all the good that has come into your life, in the week from applying new daily habits in your life and just really feel in the moment how good it feels to witness all the good that is around you. It's really hard sometimes to get out of that negative thought pattern because of all the negativity that is around you. You hear the news is full of negative, stories. There's very little that they share that's positive. You go on social media, people are arguing, there's political views here, there that are all negative, nothing serving. You talk to your coworkers, they got gossip to tell you, they're not happy about their current situations. You talk to your friends, something's going on in the life, maybe, they're having troubles with their partner, their spouse, their boyfriend. And so you hear all this negative energy and thought, and you're just stuck in this moment where you just feel so small because there's so much negativity around you that's crumpling you down and just keeping you in this little box. And so it can be daunting to, think positively when you're surrounded by all this, you know, darkness, this negative energy, this unserving unserving like images and ideas that are like all around you everywhere. And so what I like to do is a little exercise when I start, hearing negativity and hearing them in my mind as well as in conversations. I flip it. I turn the negative statement into a positive one to try and reinforce my mind that, there is good in the world, there is positivity, and that I'm not stuck in this current situation and I will never be stuck in this current situation. And that is what the joys of this. So, really, focusing and allowing yourself to be in the moment and be in the present and allowing yourself to hear the positivity, to love what's flowing through you and to just witness it with no judgment and try and switch your thought patterns from a negative one to a positive one. So I really hope that you enjoyed this content. If you have an aha moment, please share it in the comments. If you loved what you heard, just throughout. Please subscribe to the channel, and that way you can get updates when I post a new video on a weekly basis. And I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited that I got to share a little bit of some morning habit tips for you. I hope you have an amazing day, and I can't wait to hear if you've implemented any of these practices. And if any of these practices have helped you, just comment below. I'd love to hear your wins.